Good morning. It is day 141 of Read the Bible in a Year, and we are reading Ezra chapters 4 through 7 today. That is correct. That's what my notes say. Let's do it. And when the adversaries of Judah and Benjamin heard that the sons of the exile were building the temple of Yahweh Elohim of Israel, they came to Zerubbabel, and the heads of the fathers' houses said to them, "Let us build with you, for we seek your Elohim as you do, and we have slaughtered to him since the days of Esarhaddon, sovereign of Asher, who brought us here." But Zerubbabel and Yeshua and the rest of the heads of the fathers' houses of Israel said to them, "It is not for you and for us to build a house for our Elohim, but we alone build to Yahweh Elohim of Israel, as sovereign Koresh, the sovereign of Persia, has commanded us." And it came to be that the people of the land were weakening the hands of the people of Judah and troubling them in their building, and hiring counselors against them to thwart their plans all the days of Koresh, sovereign of Persia, until the reign of Darius, sovereign of Persia. Can't pronounce that one. And in the reign of Ahasuerus, in the beginning of his reign, they wrote an accusation against the inhabitants of Judah and Jerusalem. And in the days of Artashash, Bishlam, Mithredath, Tabeel, and the rest of their companions wrote Artashashta, sovereign of Persia, and the letter was written in Aramaic and translated from Aramaic. Rehum, the governor, and Shimshai, the scribe, wrote a letter against Jerusalem to the sovereign Artashashta. Thus Rehum, the governor, and Shimshai, the scribe, and the rest of their companions, the judges and the emissaries and the consuls, the officials, the people of Erech and of Babel and of Shushan and the Dehavites and the Elamites, and the rest of the nations, whom the noble Osnappar took into exile and settled in the cities of Shomeron and the rest beyond the river. And now this is a copy of the letter, and they sent to him, to the sovereign Artashatsa, from your servants and the men beyond the river. And now let it be known to the sovereign that the Yehudim, or the Jews, who came up from you, have come to us at Jerusalem and are building the rebellious and evil city and are completing its walls and repairing the foundations. Now let it be known to the sovereign that if this city is built and the walls completed, they are not going to pay tax, excise, or toll, and cause the revenue of the sovereign to suffer loss. Now because we have eaten salt from the palace, it is not fitting for us to see the sovereign's shame. Therefore we have sent and informed the sovereign, so that search may be made in the book of records of your fathers, and you find in the book of records and know that this city is a rebellious city and causing loss to the sovereigns and provinces. And revolt was stirred up since the days of old, for which the city was destroyed. We informed the sovereign that if this city is rebuilt and its walls are completed, then you have no portion beyond the river. the sovereign sent a message to Rehum the governor and Shimshai the scribe, to the rest of their companions who dwell in Shomeron and rest beyond the river. Peace. And now the letter you sent to us has been plainly read before me, and I made a decree, and a search has been made, and it was found that this city in the days of old has lifted itself up against the sovereigns, and that rebellion and revolt had been made in it. The mighty sovereigns have been over Jerusalem, who have ruled over beyond the river, and tax, excise, and toll were paid to them. Now make a decree to make these men cease, and that this city be not built until the command is given by me. And beware of negligence to do this. Why should damage increase to the hurt of the sovereigns? Now when a copy of the letter of sovereign Artashasha was read before Rehum and Shimshai the scribe. Goodness. And their companions, they went up in a hurry to Jerusalem against the Yehudim, and made them cease by might and power. Then the work of the house of Elah, which is at Jerusalem, ceased, and it ceased until the 2nd year of the reign of Darius, sovereign of Persia. Chapter 5. Then the prophets Haggai and the prophet Zechariah, son of Iddo, prophesied to the Yehudim who were in Judah and Jerusalem, and in the name of the Elah of Israel upon them. Then Zerubbabel, son of Shealtiel, and Yeshua, son of Yotzedek, rose up and began to build the house of Allah, which is in Jerusalem. And the prophets of Allah were with them, helping them. At that time, Tattenai, the governor beyond the river, and Shethar-Bozenai, and their companions came to them and said to them, "Who has made you a decree to build this house and to complete this wall?" Then we told them what the names were of the men who were building, and the eye of their Allah was upon the elders of the Yehudim, so that they could not make them cease until the matter went to Darius. And then they sent back a letter concerning this. This is a copy of the letter that Tattenai, the governor beyond the river, had sent, and Shethar-Bozenai and his companions and the officials beyond the river to Darius, the sovereign. Dariyavesh is how you say that. I don't know why I can't get that. Verse 7. They sent a letter to him, and this was written in it. To Dariyavesh, the sovereign, all peace. Let it be known to the sovereign that we went to the province of Yehuda, to the house of the great Elah, which is being built with heavy stones and timber, and timber is being laid in the walls. And this work goes on speedily and is blessed in their hands. Then we asked those elders, saying this to them, "Who made you a decree to build this house and to complete these walls?" And we also asked them their names in order to inform you, so that we could write the names of the men at their head. And this is the answer they gave us, saying, "We are the servants of Allah of heaven and earth, and we are rebuilding the house that was built many years ago, which a great sovereign of Israel built and completed. But because our fathers provoked the Allah of heaven, he gave them into the hand of Nebuchadnezzar, sovereign of Babel, the Chaldea, who destroyed this house and exiled the people to Babel. But in the first year of Koresh, sovereign of Babel, Koresh the sovereign made a decree to build this house of Elah, and also the gold and the silver and the utensils of the house of Elah, which Nebuchadnezzar had taken from the house, from the temple that was in Jerusalem, and brought it to the temple of Babel. Those sovereign Koresh took from the temple of Babel, they were given to one named Sheshbazzar, whom he had made governor, and said to him, "Take these utensils, go, deposit them in the temple in Jerusalem, and let the house of Allah be built in its place." Then the same Sheshbazzar came, laid the foundation of the house of Allah which is in Jerusalem, and since that time even now it has been in building, and it is not completed. And now, if it seems good to the sovereign, let a search be made to the sovereign's treasure house, which is there in Babel, whether it is so that a decree was made by sovereign Koresh to build this house of Allah at Jerusalem, and let the sovereign send us his decision concerning this. Chapter 6. Then Darius, the sovereign, made a decree, and a search was made in the house of the books, wherein also the treasures of Babel were kept. And at Ametha, in the place which is in the province of Media, a scroll was found, and this was written in it. In the first year of the sovereign Koresh made a decree concerning the house of Allah at Jerusalem. Let the house be built in the place where they brought offerings, and its foundation strongly laid, its height 60 cubits, its width 60 cubits. 3 rows of heavy stones, 1 row of new timber. Let the expenses be paid from the sovereign's house, and let the gold and the silver utensils of the house of Allah, which Nebuchadnezzar took from the temple which is in Jerusalem and brought to Babel, be returned to the temple which is in Jerusalem to its place, and deposit them in the house of Allah. Now Tattenai, governor beyond the river, and Shethar-Bozenai, and your companions and the officials beyond the river, stay away from there. Leave the work of this house of Allah alone. Let the governor of the Yehudim and the elders of the Yehudim build this house of Allah on its place. And I make a decree as to what you should do for the elders of these Yehudim for the building of this house of Allah. Let the exact expense be paid to these men from the sovereign's resources out of the taxes beyond the river, so that they are not stopped, and whatever they need, both young bulls and rams and lambs for ascending offerings of Allah, for the Allah of heaven, wheat, salt, wine, oil, according to the request of the priests who are in Jerusalem. Let it be given to them day by day without fail, so that they bring pleasing offerings to the Allah of heaven, and pray for the life of the sovereign and his sons. And I make a decree that whoever changes this word, let a timber be pulled from his house, and let him be impaled, hanged on it, and let his house be made a dunghill because of this. And Allah, who has caused his name to dwell there, does overthrow any sovereign or people who put their hand to change, to destroy this house of Allah which is in Jerusalem. I, Darius, make the decree, let it be done promptly. Then Tattenai, governor beyond the river, Shethar-Bozenai, and their companions promptly did according to what Darius the sovereign had sent. And the elders of the Yehudim were building, and they were blessed through the prophesying of Haggai the prophet and Zechariah, son of Iddo. And they built and finished it, according to the decree of the Allah of Israel, and according to the decree of Koresh and Dariavesh, and Artashacha, sovereign of Persia. And this house was completed on the 3rd day of the month of Adar, which was the 6th year of the reign of sovereign Darius. Then the children of Israel and the sons and the Levites and the rest of the sons of the exile did the dedication of the house of Allah with joy, and offered at the dedication of this house of Allah 100 bulls, 200 rams, 400 lambs, and as a sin offering for all Israel 12 male goats according to the number of the tribes of Israel. And they appointed the priests to their divisions, and the Levites to their divisions, and over the service of Allah in Jerusalem, as it was written in the book of Moshe. And the sons of the exile performed the Pesach on the 14th day of the first new moon. And the priests and the Levites had cleansed themselves. All of them were clean. And they slew the Passover for all the sons of the exile, for their brothers and the priests and for themselves. And the children of Israel who had returned from the exile ate together with all who had separated themselves from the uncleanness of the nations of the land in order to seek Yahweh Elohim of Israel. And they performed the festival of Matzot, the feast of unleavened bread, 7 days with joy, for Yahweh caused them to rejoice, and turned the heart of the sovereign of Asher toward them, to strengthen their hands in the work of the house of Elohim, the Elohim of Israel. Chapter 7. And after these events in the reign of Artashacha, sovereign of Persia, Ezra, son of Sariah, son of Azariah, son of Hilkiah, son of Shallum, son of Zadok, son of Ahitub, son of Amariah, son of Azariah, son of Merayoth, son of Zariah, son of Uzi, son of Buki, son of Abishua, son of Phinehas, son of Eleazar, son of Aaron, the chief of priests. This Ezra came up from Babel, and he was a scribe skilled in the Torah of Moshe, which Yahweh Elohim of Israel had given, and the sovereign gave him all he asked according to the hand of Yahweh his Elohim upon him. And some of the children of Israel, and the priests, and the Levites, and the singers, and the gatekeepers, and the Nethinim came up to Jerusalem in the 7th year of the sovereign of Artashacha. These names, man. And he came to Jerusalem in the 5th new moon, which was in the 7th year of the sovereign. For the first day of the first new moon, he began to go up from Babel, and on the first day of the 5th new moon, he came to Jerusalem according to the good hand of his Elohim upon him. For Ezra had prepared his heart to seek the Torah of Yahweh, and to do it, and to teach the laws and right rulings in Israel. This is the copy of the letter that sovereign Artashacha gave Ezra the priest, the scribe, a scribe in words of the commands of Yahweh and of his laws to Israel. Artashacha. We'll figure that one out. Sovereign of sovereigns, to Ezra the priest, a perfect scribe of the law of the Allah of heaven. And now I make a decree that all those of the people of Israel and the priests and the Levites in my reign who volunteer to go up to Jerusalem go with you, since you are being sent by the sovereign and his 7 counselors to inquire about Judah and Jerusalem with regard to the law of your Elah, which is in your hand, and to bring the silver and gold which the sovereign and his counselors have voluntarily given to the Elah of Israel, whose dwelling is in Jerusalem, and all the silver and the gold that you find in all the province of Babel, along the gift of the people and the priests voluntarily given for the house of their Elah in Jerusalem. Therefore, with this silver, promptly by bulls, rams, lambs, with their grain offering and their drink offerings, and offer them on the slaughter place of the house of your Elah in Jerusalem. And whatever seems good to you and your brothers to do with the rest of the silver and the gold, do it according to the desire of your Elah. And the utensils that are given to you for the service of the house of your Elah, put back before the Elah of Jerusalem, and the rest of the needs of the house of your Elah, which falls to you to give from the sovereign's treasure house. And I, Artashatsha. Okay, we're getting somewhere with the name Artashatsha. That might be it. The sovereign, do make a decree to all the treasurers who are beyond the river, and whatever Ezra the priest, the scribe of the law of Elah of heaven, does ask of you, let it be done promptly. Up to 100 talents of silver, and up to 100 cores of wheat, and up to 100 baths of wine, and up to 100 baths of oil, and salt without reckoning. Whatever is commanded by the Elah of heaven, let it be diligently done for the house of Elah of heaven. For why should there be wrath against the reign of the sovereign and his sons? We further inform you that there is no authority to impose tax, excise, or toll on any of the priests and the Levites, singers, gatekeepers, Nethinim, and servants for this house of Elah. And you, Ezra, according to the wisdom of your Elah that is in your hand, appoint magistrates and judges to judge all the people who are beyond the river, and all such as know the law of your Elah, and teach those who do not know them. And whoever does not know the law of your Elah and the law of the sovereign, let judgment be promptly executed on him, whether it be death or banishment, confiscation of goods, or imprisonment. Blessed be Yahweh Elohim of our fathers, who has put this in the sovereign's heart, to embellish the house of Yahweh, which is in Jerusalem, and has extended loving commitment to me before the sovereign and his counselors, and before all the sovereign's mighty princes. So I was strengthened as the hand of Yahweh my Elohim was upon me, and I gathered heads from Israel to go up with me. Praise the Lord, his loving commitment is everlasting. I keep seeing that. Anyways, that's Ezra. Tomorrow we're pretty much going to wrap up Ezra with, I think it's just the last. Come on, page, turn. Chapter 10. Yeah. So chapters 8, 9, and 10. Shalom.